The Blue Jackets have returned from their West Coast swing or their Canada swing, and they are 1-2-1 in those 4 games, which is about what I expected. So let's talk about that and why.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to bring you news, stories, updates, the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and also over on YouTube. So if you haven't hit subscribe over there, please feel free to do so. It helps me out. It helps you out. Everybody wins. And let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Before we do that, I just have one more thing, and that's to let you know that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, which is the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. Make every moment more and visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And where we're going to get started is looking at the games over the weekend and looking at this kind of West Coast West Coast Canada hybrid swing. So the Blue Jackets lost 2 in a row against the Vancouver Canucks and the Seattle Kraken, one of which I kind of expected. The other one was a little bit more disappointing. But in total, the Blue Jackets had a win, 2 losses, and an overtime loss for 3 of potential 8 points. And if you told me that they were gonna go into a 4-game swing against Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and Seattle and come out of it with a win, an overtime loss, and 2 losses, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. I just didn't think that it would be the way that it ended up shaking out. So, well, in a vacuum, not too unhappy with it. Good for the tank. The Stars have showed up. We talked about that a little bit last week. The kids have showed up. We're going to talk about Kirill Marchenko extensively today, and also Kent Johnson. So that's 2 good names to always be talking about in a positive light. But on a whole, I thought this was a really positive swing for the Jackets. Did they get the wins that they were looking for? Maybe not, but I thought they played a lot better. I think the goaltending has finally started to smooth out. A little bit of a bump against Vancouver, obviously. Joonas Korpisalo with 29 saves on 34 shots. Elvis played against Seattle and had 28 saves on 31 shots. So it's coming together. It's looking better. Korpisalo, I think, struggled against Vancouver, but was excellent against Edmonton and Calgary. Elvis, I thought, was good against Seattle, which, frankly, at this point in the season, and I love Elvis, I will take good goaltending from Elvis. I will take average goaltending from Elvis. I think it's baby steps. It's a process. If we start getting good games from him now, then, it's a confidence thing. It builds up, it builds up. So did the team win? No, because they only scored 1 goal on 25 attempts against Seattle. But the goaltending was good. The goaltending was solid. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. And that's kind of my feeling about the road trip in general is, again, did they get the wins? No, but there was some good team play. There was some good personal play. I thought Kirill Marchenko had a great trip. I thought Patrik Laine had a solid trip. Kent Johnson, obviously, 2 goals in his last 4 games, including that overtime winner from Edmonton, because he only scores overtime game-winning goals in Edmonton now, I guess. But I don't know why I keep calling them overtime game-winning goals. All overtime goals are game-winning goals. But my point still stands. Good to see the players that we want to be succeeding. Gaudreau didn't quite have it against Calgary. He had a 2-assist night, I believe, which, hey, we'll take that. But for the most part, the Stars are doing what the Stars are supposed to be doing. In Vancouver, Laine continued his point streak on the first Marchenko goal. Gaudreau got an assist on the second Marchenko goal. Jenner and Boquist also got assists. He was the only player to score against the Canucks, which is not ideal because the Canucks are kind of an on-fire garbage can at the minute. This was the disappointing game, honestly, was the fact that they got outshot by Vancouver, 34-26 in favor of the Canucks. They got out face-offed. The power play was good. The penalty kill was bad. So, it really balanced out. They went 2 for 4 on the power play and 2 for 4 on the penalty kill. So both teams had a 50% success rate on power play, which the Canucks have the worst penalty kill in the league, I believe. So good to see that. Again, really good to see Kirill Marchenko continue to score. He's up to 13 goals with no assists. I believe the record is 16 goals with no assists, so he's real close, and I really hope he does it, because I think it's going to be friggin' hilarious. And I love weird stats like that. But like I keep saying, overall, I wish this game had been better, but if you look at it in context of like a 4-game grouping, I'm not mad that this is the one game where the effort just wasn't really there. In a minute, we'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll talk a little bit about the Kraken game. That's coming up in just a second on Locked On Blue Jackets. But first, I've got to tell you about Athletic Greens, because Athletic Greens is something that I have been taking for, about a year now. And I was suspicious when it first started. I think a lot of people were, but I love it. It makes me feel so much better every morning. I get up, I stretch because I'm old and my back hurts all the time, and I have my AG1. And it's just a really great way to start the morning. AG1 is vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens, all of that good stuff to help support your immune system, your nervous system, your gut, your aging, your focus, like all of the good things. And it's just, I don't know, I can't say enough good things about it. Like I said, I was skeptical, but it has really kind of turned my morning routine around. It has made me feel much more like a person in the morning instead of a zombie that is just crawling towards lunch. So love that for it. And here's the best bit. It's super easy. All you have to do is get 1 scoop in a cup of water, and that's it. Give it a good mix, give it a good shake. And yeah, that's it. Reclaim your immune system, reclaim your health with AG1. And making it even easier for you, if you buy now, you are going to get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D. You're going to get 5 free travel packs of AG1. And it's going to make a difference, I promise. This is not me just saying this because I have to. It will make a difference. So get AG1 now at athleticgreens.com/lockedonnhl and take ownership over your daily health. Now, we need to talk about the Seattle game, which on paper doesn't look great. The Blue Jackets were outshot by the Kraken. They were not good on the power play. They only scored 1 goal. They let Alec Wenberg score a goal, and I believe Oliver Bjorkstrand got a point as well on that. Yes, on the 3-1 goal. That goal was just bad luck. But overall, I'm not super mad about how this game went. I've already talked a little bit about kind of the Elvis Merzlikins of it all. I thought he had a fine game. Like I say, 28 of 31 saves. I'm perfectly happy with that. Just on the other side, Philip Grubauer had a really good game. 24 of 25 saves. And that, again, kind of feels like the story of the season for the Blue Jackets, which is even when their goalie has a really good game, the goalie on the other side tends to be having a better one, which is just so aggressively frustrating, but is what it is. The penalty kill improved from the Canucks game. They only had 2 power plays per team, but they didn't allow a goal this time. They also didn't score a power play goal, but I mean, sure, why not? Good news, Kent Johnson scored a goal. That's his 10th of the season. I believe he's like the 6th or 7th Blue Jacket to hit 10 goals this season. And it's the 3rd time in Blue Jackets history that they've had 2 rookies hit the 10-goal mark. With him and Kirill Marchenko, they both hit 10 goals this season, which I believe the last time that was done was oh gosh, I don't remember which year it was, but it was Pierre-Luc Dubois' rookie season. So it would have been 2017-18, maybe. And it was Pierre-Luc Dubois and Sonny Milano both had 10 goals. I believe Pierre-Luc Dubois is currently holding the rookie goal record for the Blue Jackets at the minute, which is 20. And honestly, the way that Marchenko is playing right now, he's going to smash through that. I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson hits that as well. Like I said, he's got 10 goals so far this season in 47 games. He's having a real good rookie season. Which is really great to see. And, in the last 5 games, he's got 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. He had a 2-assist night against San Jose. He's, if he starts to figure it out more consistently, then good things are going to happen. I believe he had a season high of ice time against Seattle as well at 1954, which, again, really, really great to see. Like I said, if he keeps it up, if Marchenko keeps it up, Patrik Laine hasn't been scoring as much as people want him to, I think, but he is racking up the assists. He's at 30 points in 35 games, 14 goals, 16 assists. He didn't hit the score sheet against Seattle, but in his 4 games before that, he had 7 points in his last 4 games, 2 goals and 5 assists. So, it could be worse. He also had an assist before that. So he had a 5-game point streak going, 8 points in those 5 games. He had a hat trick in the month of January. So, it's all very, very slowly. I feel like it's coming together for this team. And maybe that's me being delusional because I think the defense is still not where it needs to be. But on a whole, the past kind of couple of weeks, I've seen improvement from this team, which is good. I don't know that they're going to be able to crawl out of the basement, and I don't know that we want them to. Looking at the draft, and we're going to have more draft coverage this week. But if they can improve and still kind of stay where they are in the standings, that feels like a net positive to me. So I don't know. It's kind of it's rough out here for a Blue Jackets fan. I get that. I have not enjoyed watching large parts of this season, but when you look at Patrik Laine has 8 points in his last 6 games, and Kent Johnson has 2 goals in his last 3 games, and Marchenko is scoring at a ridiculous rate for a rookie. And is that shooting percentage going to come back down to earth? Yes, obviously. He's shooting at 26% right now. It's unsustainable. Of course it is. But that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy it while it's happening. And that's kind of how I feel about this season, is go into a game expecting to lose, but being pleasantly surprised if either they win or they play well and lose anyway. That's the goal, I think, is to play well and lose anyway. Because at this point, they've got 35 games left this season. I don't know how math works. They've got less than that, surely. I don't know. They've got 30 games left this season. They're about to go on the All-Star break, so that'll probably be good. It'll give them a chance to kind of rest and reset and not lose games relentlessly. But if they can kind of continue playing like they played on this swing, I think good things are going to happen. And I want good things to happen. So like I said, just to kind of wrap up, I'm not upset about losing to 2 games on the bounce. Seattle's a good team this year. I'm not mad about losing to Seattle at all. It stings a little bit to lose to Vancouver, especially considering their whole situation, but it is what it is. The Blue Jackets are losing games this season, left, right, and center. They've already lost to the Ducks and the Coyotes and the Blackhawks this season. They might as well add the Canucks to that. So it is what it is. But for the most part, I thought this was a positive swing. Great to get a win in Edmonton. And frankly, if you're gonna lose like an away game in January against the Vancouver Canucks when you are in the Eastern Conference, like fine, it's basically meaningless, So we'll see how they do tomorrow night against the Washington Capitals because that's their final game before the All-Star break. So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. But first, I've got to tell you about our newest sponsor, which we are so excited about, and that is FanDuel. They are the number one sportsbook in America, and if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. So download now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on anything, but from the money line to point spreads to who's going to score a touchdown. If you want to put some money on the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, then that feels like a pretty good bet to me. You could also bet on the Chiefs. Honestly, I don't know football. You could bet on either of those guys. I don't know who the favorite is, but the FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use, and you get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So let's talk about the Washington Capitals because I feel like the Blue Jackets have avoided them for the most part. It's weird. They played twice. They played twice. At like the start of January. They've got 3 Caps games in a month and then 1 more in March. So very, very strange. But the Capitals have really picked up from they've been struggling. They were struggling for large parts of the season. They're 4-6 in their last 10. The Blue Jackets are 3-6-1. The Capitals are 26, 20, and 6 overall. So maybe not playoff bound. I believe they are currently in a wild card spot with 58 points in 52 games. But they're not kind of the powerhouse Capitals that we've seen kind of over the last few years. Currently, the last 5 games, Dylan Strome has 4 points in those 5 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. Evgeny Kuznetsov has 4 assists. Surprised not to see Alex Ovechkin there. I believe he's out at the minute with an upper body injury. I don't know that they'll see him play today or tomorrow. Excuse me. He might be back. I don't know. They build them different in Russia, Every time you look and think, he's going to miss some time, he actually comes back and plays and scores like 4 goals in a game. So I would expect to see Ovechkin tomorrow night. He missed the last game, but generally he misses a game and is then good to go. That being said, he might decide that he doesn't want to go to the All-Star game, so he could miss this game. If you don't want to go to the All-Star game, then you have to be out either the game before or after. So if he wants to skip this game and avoid the All-Star game, that is fine by me. In terms of team stats, they are beating the Blue Jackets in, again, this is not a surprise, every metric. They are 19th on the power play. The Blue Jackets have crawled up to 28th in the league, which is very exciting. After Marchenko's 2-goal effort the other night, their penalty kill is 21st versus the Washington Capitals 9th. Face-off percentage is 19th in the league for the Capitals versus 26th for the Blue Jackets. They are 17th in goals for per game and 10th in goals against per game. They've been getting really good goaltending from Darcy Kemper, who has a 9.15 and 5 shutouts this season. Fully a third of his wins have been shutouts, which feels bonkers. He's 15, 14, and 4. And that's nonsense. That feels to me, that's the same level of nonsense as when Elvis Merzlikins had like 5 shutouts in 8 games or something in his rookie season, So hopefully the Blue Jackets get to see Lindgren. I feel like they are still bad enough that they will get to face backups when they get the opportunity to. But with the All-Star break coming up, it might be a case of, well, we'll play Kemper and then he could rest. So tough to say. I would expect to see Korpisalo start for the Blue Jackets, just because that's how this season is going. Although I thought Merzlikins had the better weekend. So I don't know. Maybe they play Merzlikins and hope for the best. They're going to have to start playing him more eventually. And this has kind of been a theme on the last few episodes, is at some point you're going to have to accept that you need to play Elvis Merzlikins. Like, you can't just keep benching him and playing Korpisalo, because the future exists. And the fact of the matter is, you've got Elvis for the next 5 seasons. So at some point you're going to have to stop playing him. In terms of predictions, I would love to say that the Blue Jackets are going to go out and win this. They lost last game 1-0, which was just real tough. They lost the game before that 6-2. So can they come out and win this one? Sure. I think, Patrik Laine is real hot at the minute. 7 points in his last 5 games. Kirill Marchenko, 4 goals in his last 5 games. Johnny Gaudreau, 5 assists in his last 5 games. So, if those guys turn up, if Boone Jenner turns up, Kent Johnson, if the defense holds up, then sure, I think, I don't know, maybe I'll go with my usual fence-sitting bet and say 4-3 Blue Jackets. And again, just kind of hope for the best. In terms of opening the scoring, I'm going to go with Laine. He's gone a couple of games without a goal. I think he's overdue. So that feels like a safe bet to me. And that's kind of all I've got for today. Tomorrow we are going to be doing another prospect report. I talked to Patrick Bexell of Habs Eyes on the Prize, and we're going to be looking at Axel Sandin Pellikka and whether the Blue Jackets could or should add another defenseman to their already deep pool. That is tomorrow's episode. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for making it your first listen of the day. We're on all podcasting apps of choice. We are on YouTube. If you want to hit subscribe over there, please feel free to do so. It helps me out. It helps you out. Everybody wins. You get notified when new episodes go live. So that's always exciting. And I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOB FORSTER.